Have you ever wondered how to set up for a twin needle or a double needle? I'm going to show you how to thread the machine and then also use some of the decorative stitches that you have built into this machine for something really cool. So let's go ahead, let's just get back to a regular fabric, regular straight stitch. And before I do anything, I'm going to go into the start menu, go down to the set area, and we're going to tell the machine we have a twin needle size. This one is 2.5. And then watch, as we pick a stitch, it's going to show us on screen what it's going to look like before we even sew it. And that's really neat to have that little preview, because sometimes you're going to notice stitches, you're like, oh, I wonder what that's going to look like. Ooh, it's going to look fun. And then you can just see what it's going to look like. If you have stitched out your decorative stitches, you might like to sew them again, this time with a twin needle on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually unthread my machine, add my second spool. I'm just going to put it on this little vertical spool here. But I want to take both the threads together in my hand, and we're coming together underneath the silver arm and then underneath here. But right before I come down this first part, have you noticed there's a little fin in here? That metal fin is what is going to separate these two threads. One's on the right, one's on the left. That means each one of these threads will get their own tensions. And by separating them, you really get what you're looking for. Now, at the bottom, we do not have a needle threader that is going to work, so you are on your own for threading this needle. So go ahead and we'll go ahead and get that all the way up there, tighten it up. Now, it does not matter which thread goes in which needle. You will find that you can just pick one. And I sometimes lower the presser foot down. That way the white part of the ankle of your foot will shine through those holes and give you a little bit of a easier threading job there. This is also fun if you put variegated thread in one of these needles, or both, and just have some fun with it. But before we get started, I am going to go to just a straight stitch and just make sure I've got everything threaded up. I usually sew a little bit slower just to see everything coming together. Looking good. The bobbin's just going to do double duty. Here, let me show you what it's going to look like on the back. You can use your thread cutter. That will cut the thread just fine. And so that's what it's going to look like side by side. Bobbin thread, I have pink in the bobbin, so that is going and catching both needles as it's coming underneath. Now, as you use a wider twin needle or double needle, those stitches grow further apart. So even there's lots of different versions of the decorative stitches I'm going to show you, depending on what size of needle you put in. A lot of times people will use a twin needle to simulate the hem of a garment. Like on a knit fabric, there's that cover stitch hem. So it's two stitches on the front and kind of a crisscross on the back. If you don't have a cover stitch machine, you can use a twin needle to duplicate it. So if you're hemming something up, you can have that nice professional look on the outside. If you flip it over, they're going to know that you did it yourself, but who's looking on the inside of your clothing? So let's do something with decorative stitches. Let's just go ahead and just for fun, let's just start with a zigzag, nothing too fancy here, just to kind of see. Now, the reason we set that twin needle setting is because we can make this wider, but eventually it's going to max out. So if we have and we do have a width of 7 millimeters wide, and we put a 2.5 twin needle on, it is going to stop us at 4.5. So that way we don't break our needle. So once you set it, you don't have to worry about anything. Let's do this wider zigzag. Really fun there. Now let's play with some of those decorative stitches. So if we touch and hold our stitch menu and even come down to, oh yeah, these are kind of fun. Let's just kind of do some of these. Again, you can just pick a stitch and start sewing, and you'll get the look without having to worry about any part of the double needle. Again, sometimes I recommend just sewing a little bit slower, but once you seem to get going and the confidence is there, most people start to really put the pedal to the metal, just like when they're sewing with a regular foot. Look at that. How cool is that? It looks like a ribbon. Just for fun, let's just go to another page and we'll pick this one. Look, boy, that looks totally different. When we pick the twin needle option here, we'll just sew a little of this. Maybe we'll do one more stitch. You're going to find some of your stitches are going to be very heavy, like this, what I call satin stitches. I like to stick to more open stitches. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Looks like tiger stripes. I got to stitch that one out. And this is what happens when I put a twin needle on and I start sewing decorative stitches. I get so excited that I want to do more and see all the different combinations that I could come up with. All right, that'll give you an idea. When you do the twin needle, just remember, set it in the machine. Look at that. Set it in the machine, thread on both sides of the tension disc, and start having fun. And I bet without any trouble whatsoever, you will impress your friends with stitches that they have never seen.